You are just over your 30th issue, but Glitz Africa magazine is not available online. You only have a paper version. How is your company trying to meet up with the tech revolution?
So
13 years you've run your business, you've done amazing. All the money you've made and all the successes that you can count, you're impacting people already. Why did you choose to then blend it with politics?
Okay, so I mentioned that I genuinely believe that my calling is...
What can you do for your people without being called a politician?
I
really shouldn't have spoke about it. If the entire brain mass is 100%, where would we see emotion?
I've never had a heartbreak, what do you call it, heartbreak before. I didn't know how you could just let yourself go because you wanted to have a wedding and the person disappointed you. That's the day I'll take it and buy a ticket and go for a holiday.
How do you harness the power of your mind to help you become who you are today?
So for me, I believe your everything starts from the mind.
Okay.
Everything you do, even how you see yourself, right? If you get up in the morning and what your mind is telling you when you look at yourself in the mirror, and what you see it, and if you allow your mind to believe what you want to believe, what you're seeing in the mirror, that's how you're going to carry your day. If you get up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and your mind is telling you that oh, I look great, I'm ready for the day, all of that. The mind is so strong and so powerful, right? So for me, getting up, I talk to myself a lot. And it's sort of like I train my mind to I position my mind and I train it to go where I want it to go. You know?
Do you kind of accept things in your mind, like mentally, before they happen?
I do. I over like think everything. Okay. I always over process things. I always over like even things that people may not be expecting it to go that way. I already will process that, or the negative or the positive. So when things happen, people sort of look at me and think, oh my God, like you never really react to things because I've already processed that already. So when it's happening, it's like I sort of knew that was going to happen. I don't know how to explain that, but it's just, it's like even when I'm doing my event, like I can see people enjoying it, but you never get reaction from me, whether I'm happy at the event or I'm not. You know, I'm looking at everything. I'm even the stage, like I'm always looking at things far beyond what people are actually looking or what they are expecting it to be. I think it also comes from how I grew up, right? So even though I had older siblings, I was they were not in the country. So in my home, I was the older person. And I always say that I didn't have the luxury of having older siblings who were like, will tell me what to do, what not to do. And, you know, our parents are not like the type of parents we are now. It's not parents that you can go to and share things with them or ask them advice about being, you know, growing up. You know, you're scared about your parents, right? So you had to learn on your own. So as the oldest, I had to, you know, I can't share things I was going through with my younger siblings, right? Because I needed them to see me like so proper and doing everything so well and so by the books and even above what my parents are thinking. So you hid
your emotions away from them?
I think so.
Just because you wanted them to see you as
the pillar or something for them. Okay. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So I've always had very strong mind from a very child, you know, from growing up. And somehow it's helped me through my life because nothing surprises me. Like no comment, nothing like shakes me or anything. So it's like I'm so ready. Like wow. I'm always ready. Yeah. So so I think Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, I do something called auto-suggestion. So that's when I suggest certain things to myself. And it's always in a positive light.
Yeah.
So I will stand in the mirror, in front of the mirror, and then, you know, do those kind of exercises.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I wake up early in the morning, just before my son knocks the door and say, "Daddy, I wanna use your washroom."
Yeah. Oh, they do that to you too? Yeah. My kids do that to me all the time.
Why don't you use yours?
Yes.
You know?
It's strange.
Yeah. Just before they do that, I have to visualize certain things mentally and make sure that, you know, I'm projecting the day I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think, I believe, that's how I've programmed my mind and how I see things, and every part of my my journey, you know, as a businesswoman, I was a family, everything has always been like that.
But sometimes it can appear as if you're being a bit too hard on yourself.
I am. But I am though. I'm very, even my friends, I think probably maybe the last 4 years is when like even my friends started talking to me that, oh, Claudia, now we're seeing the soft side of you because I'm very intense. So, and sometimes I even tell myself, I don't know how to relax, you know? So I do a lot of massages, you know? I don't play with my massages because I'm intense mentally and even with my body. And I work out a lot. You know, I lift weights and all of that. Plus the kind of, it's funny. But I am just, you know, it's just me. It's just probably that's how God made me. But I'm very intense. And I actually had somebody sat in my car and a younger person, and they heard me playing. So, said, Miss Claudia, I didn't know you listen to this kind of music. Okay. I was like, what do you think I listen to?
They've always known you to be hard on yourself, very intense.
Yeah.
You know, don't let things go easily. Yeah. Just always a go-getter.
Yeah.
That's the image that a lot of the people know you to be.
Yes, yeah. That's the perception I see. I mean, I've met people who sat in front of me, and sorry to say, like the lady basically, she was sweating so much, like sometimes I don't know why, but people in the industry, even creative industry, they tell me it's just that I just like things to be done well, and I don't like when people are joking with stuff. Right. You see? So even I've had creative people who always like, I always think Claudia doesn't like me. It's because the way she looks at me or whatever. It's because you lose me quickly. If I see you and I see that you're playing with like certain things that I feel is important, like your career, you know. I have people interview... radio journalists and people who come to my office to interview me, and I stopped the interview and I said, you need to leave my office because you cannot represent your organization as a journalist, as a professional person. And this is the kind of question you're asking me, and you haven't researched enough of my brand. I mean, what kind of representation are you doing for your brand? Wow. And I've gone to studios to do interviews, and I've got up and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. You know, because for me, I don't need PR or anything like that. I'm all about impact and what I'm doing. Does it make sense? You know, I always have to question why I'm doing certain things. So if you're not serious, and I feel like, you know, why are you here? Why have you not done enough research? You understand? Whatever you're doing in life, I just feel like you should do it with respect and be careful, like pay attention to it. If you're a messenger, do it well. Yeah. You understand? If you are, whatever you do, you know, I just want people to be serious. And I like people like that. I love people like that. And I'll go 120, 30% for anybody. I've had security people in my company, like in the building that my office is in, and I just see the way they smile and greet people. And I've paid school fees and taken them to school to do further education just by doing that at the door. Because that's the thing I like. I like people, no matter how little or what you're doing, I just like people, their attitude towards people do things. Yeah. So people see that to be like, I'm very tough. I'm very, but it's just because I just love to see people are serious with what they're doing.
Well, you know, the truth is, right, when you find yourself with a certain type of attitude or character or behavior that serves you positively and makes you happy.
Absolutely.
By all means, walk in it.
Absolutely.
You know, by all means, walk in it. But, you know, where you work with a lot of staff members, you have a huge team, you have a huge number of creatives you work with.
Yeah.
How do you think then they this is you, right? And this is the type of person that you've chosen to become. And, you know, life has made you this way, right? It's not your fault.
Yeah.
This is your personality.
Yeah.
But how do you ever reflect and be like, how am I coming across to them and how are they taking it?
I do, but I have to tell you, most of the time I do not care.
Okay.
But it's because I sometimes I know what I know what the end game will be. And for me, it's about the end game. So if you're working with me, I push people, but I also because I push people that I like and I can see them doing well for themselves. Do you understand? So I always say that if you work for me and I don't pay attention to what you're saying to me and I'm not asking you questions and I'm not asking you to do stuff, you should actually be worried. That means I cannot be bothered to give you my time. So if you are somebody that I always pay attention to what you're doing and I'm asking you questions and I'm pushing you to go and do it 2-3 times better, is because I'm actually taking an interest in you.
Right.
You understand? So if you see that as I'm bothering you, then you're not the right person for me. So, you know, my creative team, I mean, they'll do something and I always ask you, is this glitz enough? I mean, I think I've asked them enough that now they know. So they will come in and you stand there and analyze the thing yourself. And I said, no, is it glitz enough? And, you know, is it like relating, is it something that represents our brand well? And if you say yes, and I said, okay, tell me, justify that. Tell me that, what about it? And most of the time they go back and do it better. So, wow. Yeah, but it also, people that work with us, I mean, the client that work with us always tell me how your team is like they've built emotional maturity. Is what I have, you know. Right. And I think I've been able to put that or train the people that are around me with that. So I have people who always tell me that, wow, your team, like, you know, they're always they come across very strong. Like, you know, you don't see them reacting to little things and they are throwing things. No, they don't. Like, they're very composed when you're talking to them and they are doing things, you know. It's just the way I am, and I guess I push them and they just also somehow become like that.
Yeah, it's a spirit of excellence, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically trying to get everybody to understand that this is who you are about.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, and I cannot micromanage people. I don't know how to do that. So I want you to do things by yourself, know things by yourself, and want to do them yourself without Claudia even being there. So, yeah.
No, my favorite sentence, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I've done an extensive bit of research, spoken to a few people, and indeed, it's right. What was common in the conversations people were having with me about you is you are results oriented.
Yeah.
And that came out, you know, from the conversation we've just had.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, we have a huge event coming up, right?
Yeah.
Glitz Africa.
Yeah.
You know, an exhibition, whatever, and you have thousands of people at the event.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everything is 90% done. But Madam Claudia is focused on the 10%. 10%. That is not, how are you going to relax?
I know. That's why I told you that I'm never relaxed. I go and have my massages after that.
Wow.
Yes. And I have members of my board, and sometimes I've had like the chairman of my board. I remember once we were having Ghana Women of the Year, and I never sit down at my event. You know, you never see me on the red carpet or anything like that. My team will you have to pull me to get me to even get a picture out of me, unless I take the picture before I go to the event. So people, you don't find me at my own event. You know, I guess the last Ghana Women of the Year we did was the only event that actually sat down because we were celebrating the First Lady. It was her last month to be First Lady. And they insisted that, Madam, no, you have to sit with her. This is her last, you know, we're celebrating her as the ultimate woman, and you know, and I was so uncomfortable. And even when I was seated there, I was on my phone. Why is this not on the stage? Why are you doing that? Goodness. Bring this one. Oh no. And I'm like, fantastic. Well done, guys. We're almost there. We're getting there. You're doing it. No, but move this one. Like, and so they were laughing at me.
Wow.
So, but it's just and I remember I was saying my board chairman, I remember one of our events, he said, Claudia, and I don't know if he's what he saw, but he just came to me and said, relax, Claudia. It's going fantastic. And then I was like, I looked at him and I was like, And I just don't know. It's just that I don't take people for granted. And for me, and I always tell my team that to invite people, my focus is for us to celebrate women, who've done amazing work in their own different things. And I'm trying to tell a story that my children, 10 years, 20 years down the line, they would see that and benefit from that. That's no joke for me. So for me, when we're doing everything, I don't joke with things like that because it's their journey. I'm trying to tell a story for other people to see. And also, we've invited people. It's time for other people to be in the room. I want to make sure that people are getting the best experience when they come into the room. So then what's the point? Because if you invite me to a program, 2 hours of my time, I need to go back with something. So I'm very conscious about that. For me, it means everything to me. I don't just do things for just doing them sake. I do them because it's an experience I want to give to people. So until the end of that experience, and I'm sure that these people, I look at them and they're happy and they're engaging, and that's what gives me joy. That's what I want to see. So until I'm seeing that, the work is not done. Why am I standing and dancing for what?
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah, I told you, I'm very intense.
That's intense. I'm sure my team guys are watching it and they're listening, right? And they're thinking, Mr. Derek is half of you, just half.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, right? I saw that in you, and I saw that with your team as well.
But it's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful trying to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I had a guest in the sea who said that this is the problem we have. A lot of the time, for you to be like the way I like to expect excellence from people is lack of trust.
Yeah.
And it's part of my trauma, the things that I went through and the independence that I had. So it makes it very difficult for me to trust people to do things the way I would have done. So I'm always trying to get involved. And then he advised me, he said, look, how about allow people to do it the way they would do it and just observe. And that they pretend as if you are not there.
But for me, I trust people with what I give them. But I take them to a position where I believe I can trust them with work. Do you understand? So I told you I don't like to micromanage people. And that's why I'm the way I am. Because I want them to know that they're good enough to handle stuff. Because I don't know, it's something about Ghanaians and young Ghanaians, they know the stuff, but sometimes it takes somebody to tell them how great they are. And for me, I don't want to tell you. I want you to discover that yourself. So because if you discover that yourself, when I'm not there, you will know you're good at that to do it. I love to see when my team now, they do stuff. It gives me so much joy because now sometimes a whole week I don't even go to my office because I have other projects I'm doing. But I know the office is running because of the way they are programmed to work.
Right.
You get what I mean? So that means I trust people to handle stuff, but I need to push you to get somewhere by yourself. You need to discover it yourself. I cannot tell you that you're great. You need to know you're great. So when you get up in the morning, I don't need to micromanage you. They get up in the morning and tell me what they're going to do. Do you understand? They'll tell me that, Madam, I'm doing this. I'm going to do that. That's what I like. And I always tell them that if I give you one, if this is the people that I pay attention to, if I give you one, I want people who come back to me and say that, Madam, you gave me one. But guess what? I've done 2. And I think if we do 3, we are going to hit this target. That's the people I like around me. So if I give you 1 and come back with 1, you know what? I will not even bother myself with you next time because I always want people who show me that you are value. Show me the value. You understand? Show me value and let me help you to maybe twist and turn things so you can see the potential. But I don't want to be telling you what to do.
Where did you learn that from?
Honestly, I don't know. And I think I was telling you, I think it just came from the fact that I didn't have the luxury of having somebody to guide me in life like that. I had to learn and self-build myself to that position. I had to school, I had to talk to myself, I had to build that inner strength myself because I couldn't be seen weak by my younger siblings.
Did you have a lot of male role models?
Actually, maybe yes and no. I mean, my father's a very tough man.
Right.
He's very tough. And I learned that toughness from him. And also the fact that I was the oldest, you understand? And I don't even know if I cry. I probably cry about little things, but not the things I'll cry about. I can't even say it on camera.
You've never broken down and cried.
Not about the things that I break down if I can't tell you on camera. No, but it's just, I don't, I just see them, I just brush them over, like, and just move.
Wow.
It's like, I don't have time to cry over these things. I don't have time, and just move, just go.
Do you allow yourself to feel?
I don't think when I'm working, I do. I don't think I do. But it's a weakness. For me, I see that sometimes it's a weakness of mine, but I can't help it. I can't help it because, and sometimes I tell even my team before we go and do any project for a client or anything like that. And I said, you know what? If I scream at you, it's got nothing to do with you. It's at the work. It's about the end result. After that, I will do a party, we'll go out and have a drink, whatever, buy food for them. And funny enough, like when we finish a task, I'm very silly. Like my friends were very close to me. They'll tell you that Claudia is probably one of the most like silliest person because, the things that I would say and, sometimes the guys who are always with me, my makeup and camera, like something like, Madam, you need to have a talk show because the things that you say, people don't ever think that you say these things. But it's just that, but once cut and we are moving to a task, you see a different person. You will see a totally different Claudia. You'll be surprised that wasn't the Claudia that we're just sitting here and talking and laughing with, but I would just move like I'm like a totally different person like altogether. And I can switch quickly, like from as soon as the project is done, you will just now all see me all being silly. I'm like, yay, what are you wearing? Hey, this looks, I didn't probably even notice you.
Yeah.
So,
this is the portions of your mind, right?
Yeah.
If I was to look, if you were to look at your brain in an MRI or a CT scan, where would we, in fact, if the entire brain mass is 100%, where would we see emotions? What percentage would that be?
Probably 10, 12%.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? Today, I don't like talking about family relationship or anything like that. But even people that I've dated in the past, I always tell them that I've never had a heartbreak before. Because, like, I just move on. I just see that as weakness. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'll just move on. And I've had young girls, like I remember there's a brand manager, a very fantastic lady that works with one of the big brands. And I was looking for her for a project. I couldn't find her. And every time you call, text her, she doesn't reply. And I saw her on a program. I said, oh my God, where have you been? I was trying to talk to you. She said, oh Claudia, you won't believe it. The man I was going to get married to disappointed me last minute. I said, are you kidding me? Is that why when I was trying to call you for a business, I couldn't reach you? Because someone that wanted to get married to you disappointed you?
Wow.
And the girl looked at me and she came back and said, Miss Claudia, maybe that's what I needed to hear. And I said, are you kidding me? Go back into that mirror, look at yourself and come back and tell me that you let all that business go because somebody didn't marry you? I mean, it wasn't meant to be. Move on. Maybe it's their loss. That's how I see it. Wow. It's their loss. If they didn't marry you, maybe you're too good and too smart. Get on with it. And I was like, but I couldn't relate to it. You understand? I couldn't relate to why? Because I saw her as so great and I couldn't believe that she was letting herself go. I'm seeing such a strong, beautiful girl. Even the way she had dressed up, I was like, how? Like, I don't know. Maybe I had to learn from her, but I didn't know how you could just let yourself go because you wanted to have a wedding and the person disappointed you. That's the day I'll buy a ticket and go for a holiday.
Wow. But do you think you give tough love or no love?
No, I do give love.
Tough love.
I do give tough love, and I also give
empathy.
I'm 100%. I have, when it comes to empathy, everybody will tell you. I see people. Do you see? So for me, I see people. So if you walk in here and you are not well or something, I will spot it.
Right.
So I see people, and it's because of the empathetic nature of me. Right. I see people. And I always say that, I have people who are like, drivers, house help, and of even my friends, my friends like doctor, house help and drivers of friends of mine are people that feel even comfortable enough to call me for help. They don't even call their masters. Does it make sense? So it shows that I see them and I see people. And I told you that comes from, when I see people being respectful and doing what they're doing and doing it well. I see people. I walk into a salon and everybody wants to touch my hair. Everybody want to come around me because I see them. You understand? And I've had people that I will say that I've gone into salons and I'll see people and say, you don't look well. Something has changed on your face or something. They're like, Miss Claudia, I'm well. And I just send them straight away to hospitals, and they've discovered certain things were wrong with them that even their madams or their masters would never, pay attention or would have seen it. Do you see what I mean? But I see the little people that people don't see. And I see that, there are girls who work with me. And sometimes when they come in, I'm like, what happened this weekend?
Okay.
And they're like, and sometimes I've seen them then they just break down and start crying. I'm like, what happened this weekend? And then because, this is not how you come into my office. Like, what happened to you? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, you look like you had a great weekend. You had a girl with you or you had your wife with you. Okay. Like, that's the thing. I see people and it comes across with how empathetic I am. I'm also a mother, so all of that comes together. But it's just that I see life different, you understand? I just see you joke when you have to joke, but when you're playing with things that are serious and things that will affect other people and things that affect the life of other people, I don't play with things like that.
My one of my mentors put it very well. He says, there's nothing funny about life.
Absolutely.
Life is a serious business.
Absolutely.
So, you treat it how you want to treat it.
Absolutely.
And then it will serve you.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about your entrepreneurial ventures. Come from corporate. Worked in Ghana for a little bit as well. And then you set up the whole Glitz Africa movement or group.
Yeah.
Where did you get your initial startup?
From my own personal savings. Yeah, it was tough because I started Glitz 13 years ago when I moved back to Ghana, and there wasn't anything like funding for anyone. And also I was going into an industry that wasn't a popular industry, right? You're starting a magazine. Who does magazine? People told me that, it won't work. People just like advertising. Because what people don't understand, magazine is an advertisement platform. So it's, but people were used to the traditional advertising, which is radio, billboards. So what will make somebody want to advertise in a magazine? But I'm very stubborn. I mean, when I want to do something, I just want to go ahead and do it. I have to prove to Claudia, apart from God, but I always pray, and the energy, what I'm feeling always give me the reassurance that I'm in a good, I'm on a good route or something as God wants me to be, because it feels right. When it feels right with me, nothing you say, I'll just go.
So do you think you're walking in your purpose?
Absolutely. I found my purpose. Absolutely. And people is my purpose. People, they are my purpose. Because if you look at everything in my journey, everything, starting the magazine was all about people. Magazine is all about celebrating people, telling Ghanaian stories in a very tasteful way. Because I was getting sick and tired of, great people that we don't have great stories about them. Nigerians who are doing is celebrating their own. And I was like, who is telling our story? But not just telling our story in a very tasteful way that people will appreciate it and inspire people. Because all these young people, they're looking into elsewhere. They're looking into America for inspiration because they think that's what land of possibility. Ghana is land of possibility as well. There are women, there are men who've started with nothing and are now in billions of dollars.
But do you think
understand?
The people that led us, the people that have got the money, that have got the businesses, are telling us the truth?
They are when they find the right platform. And that's what I wanted my brand to give to them. Because people know when they understand the platform they're on. Do you understand? You've put on this platform. It's not every podcast that I will go to. But probably this is the first one I've actually come on to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Because for me, it's about content. It's about the content that gives impact, that's trying to tell a great story about our country, about great people. And that's what I seek to. We were doing with Glitz Africa. And when they find the right place, they want to. Because that was one of my challenges when I go in to speak to them to do the stories in the magazine. Because Ghanaians sometimes they feel like they're showing off. But I'm like, it's not about showing off. I don't even even want to talk about, the great whatever. It's the tough one that I want you to tell me, because I want Kofi somewhere, sitting in the village somewhere, to know that you were actually also at one point there, like they were. Because I cannot connect with, and I can be inspired by Oprah, great. But I cannot be inspired what Oprah grew, how she grew up and what she did. It's totally nothing different from Kate's. Reroy Cable. I'm trying to, Auntie Kate, who owns the biggest cabling company and in Ghana and now in West Africa. She's a Ghanaian. I want to sit with Auntie Kate, you understand? Because she started her business from Ghana. She's had children, she's had family, she's had the loans, she's had everything, but she still managed to build, great business. I cannot compare that experience with me learning from an Oprah Winfrey. Do you get what I mean? Because
I'm with you, 100%.
Your experience in America is totally different.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stories I wanted. I wanted us to celebrate our own Michelle Obamas, our own Oprahs, our own, big men and women in the country. And I think when they find the right place, they do want to tell the story. Life is not about how much money you have in your bank account. It's how much of an impact you're making. And most of these people, at the stages that they are, they want to actually impact people. But how to do it is finding the right of, guiding them on how the right way to do it. That's where it lies.
I think you've done fantastic.
Thank you.
13 years ago, you started this.
Yeah.
I think you've built such a solid brand.
Thank you.
And I'm sure a lot of women who are watching would appreciate that you've influenced a lot of them.
Thank you.
But my question, being somebody coming from tech,
Yeah.
is you are just over your 30th issue.
Mm-hmm.
But Glitz Africa magazine is not available online.
Mm-hmm.
You only have a paper version.
Mm-hmm.
How is your company trying to meet up with the tech revolution?
Yeah. So actually we are working on all our digital platforms. We have the Glitz app and all of these things. And we are working on them and we're going to launch them early part of next year. But also, even globally, even though every brand now since COVID is trying to have a digital version, people still love their magazine. Magazines are coffee table, thing. That people still want to have their magazines. People don't throw away their magazines. People move homes and countries with their magazines and always refer to them. So I'm still very passionate about the paper version. Okay. But it's also nice as a brand to always have digital. And now all the big magazines, everybody is also doing digital, especially since COVID. So we are going into that, but we're still going to continue with our hard copy magazine as well.
And do you think that having a digital version would help, the brand move to the next level, especially reach to other people who are not on the continent?
Absolutely. Because we do get people that reach out to us and we have to send magazines to them in Italy and different places. Okay. So we understand that the digital, we absolutely need to do the digital. But also people get tired sometimes just going to digital magazines, right? So you can't give them 100 or sometimes because the hard copy is sometimes 150 pages. Okay. You don't want to give that. Social media is very fast and they don't have long time to say and go through, so you have to do short, smaller versions that they can have and go through them and all of that. But we are working on that.
Amazing. I know the struggle that I have had trying to bring this platform, Connected Minds. And the major struggle is getting guests. It's taken us several months to get through to your team, to make this happen. And this happened to every single guest. With Glitz Africa, you're doing the same thing. Meeting up with people, networking with them. How have you done it?
I think...
What's your strategy?
I'll say that when you start every brand, right, is being consistent with what you do. Okay. Because people, when you have spent so much energy and time to build your brand and to build yourself, I don't want to dilute my brand for something that I have built. I have built a trusted brand as Glitz Africa and a trusted and respectable brand as Claudia Kwarteng Lumor. So I don't want to dilute that in any place because they are calling me. So with the same mindset, if you're building something, you need to make sure that you need to make the brand, what you're trying to portray, need to be very clear to people. It doesn't have to be diluted. When I go to your website or your page or whatever, I have to get it clearly what you're trying to say. And for that, I can connect with that. Because if my team, sometimes they bring me lots of things every day to look at. Madam, we've got this invitation. Sometimes they themselves, they won't even bring it to me because they'll say, Claudia, I will never do this one. Yeah. Claudia, I will never do that. And sometimes they will look at it and I said, oh, are you kidding me? I haven't got time for this. But there was something that will, as soon as I see and say, yeah, I'll do this one. So it depends on you, the people, what you're trying to do. If you're very serious again with your brand and if you can see where you want to go to, then you'll be careful with how you do your things. I've had designers that I always tell them that, why are you trying to put your personal pictures on your designer's page? Because who you are as a person is it's different from what I want you made the things I may want you to make for me are not things that you yourself would like to wear. So your brand and your creative mind should be totally different from what you like. You are not producing for yourself. You're producing for people. Do you understand? I always tell people that the people that may like Glitz Africa brand may not be the people that like Glitz Africa. It may not like Claudia Lumor because Claudia Lumor is not Glitz Africa. I'm producing Glitz Africa for a target audience and I understand who my audience are. So we produce it for them. So it's not about what I like. It's about what my audience, what they want to read is what we produce, right? But it could be that I totally don't like what is even in the magazine, what's on the cover. But it's got nothing to do with me. It's what our audience want to see, and that's what we do. So once you build a brand and you're consistent with it, you build trust, you build integrity, you build, respect, all of that. And now guess what? Everybody want to associate with you. Glitz Africa, and I proudly say this because I can pull anybody. We don't even have to make phone calls. People want to reach out to us, whether it's first ladies, presidency, unless I don't want to call. You understand? Because people have seen what you've done. People respect the platform. And when I did interviews, I told my editorial team, did you realize that people don't even come back? Because we can actually destroy people with an interview, but people don't even come back to ask me to see the final interview because I edit them that like I'm crazy. Because I want people to come out in our magazine so good and so well that it's probably one of their best interviews they've done. I will sit down and make sure we edit over and over. There are people that said something in my interview that I've actually asked my team, you need to take this out because if this come out, it will not be good for their brand.
Right.
But they've said it. But I don't think they'll be good for their brand. You get what I mean? So I'm looking after them because I want them to look so good. And so I want them to be proud of what they've said in our magazines and everything. And we featured first ladies, ministers of state, big CEOs and global people. But they hardly even ask us for their interview because they know we'll look after them. And once you do that, why wouldn't anybody want to be on your platform? They would love to.
Absolutely. But, you mentioned consistency, right? But consistency, it's in line with the project that you're trying to do in the sense that for interviews, you need the guest to be able to remain consistent. Yeah. So how did you break through?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But again, it's about substance. The people that you're bringing, it's not about the high caliber of people that you're bringing. It's about the substance, the content what you're saying. It could be that you're bringing in a nobody entrepreneur, but it's what they've done at that low level. Do you get what I mean? It's the story that you're telling, it's not the person. And that's for me, that's what I've done at Glitz, because we've had people who have millions of following and they'll reach out to us, they want to be on a cover. But I would never put you on the cover because what is your substance? I'd rather put, a nobody on the cover because their story and their journey is what I want people to know about. It's not about the person. I've had so many people, and now I think when I started Glitz, people were confused about it because they thought it was going to be celebrities, whatever. But even now the celebrities themselves, before they come to Glitz, they will tell you that, hey, madam, now I've built my brand, now people respect me. So for them, they understand that you have to be a certain quality. It's not about popularity. I'm not doing a popularity magazine here. I'm doing content that is respectable content. So now when they find themselves there, they know that, oh, that means now I'm serious. Now what I'm doing has substance. That's why you're on there. So that's what I'm saying. So even if you're starting with, but you've made it very clear that is content, is the impact. And you clearly said that my thing is about impact.
Yeah.
So once people go on there and start seeing the impact, then the big people themselves will start saying that I want to be there.
Right.
Because I see the words that's coming out of this so powerful, it's so inspiring. Why wouldn't I want to add my voice to something like that? You've
just given me a lot of tips, man. That question was for me. I'm sorry, it wasn't for you guys. It was for me. It was for me. To be able to get to that 13-year mark as she has.
You will get to.
Yeah, and then say that I've interviewed everyone on the planet. My goodness.
You will get to.
I'll say this once again, that the name alone, Glitz Africa alone, is huge. Just the name, you chose. Yeah. You did well. You did fantastic. But 13 years, you've run your business. You've done amazing. You've, look, all the money you've made and all the successes that you can count.
Yeah.
You're impacting people already. Why did you choose to then blend it with politics?
Oh, okay. So I mentioned that I genuinely believe that my calling is about people.
Right.
It's about impacting people. And I sat down and I said, oh my God, me going into politics now, I feel like I've come into full circle now. Because when I started the magazine, I just thought I just wanted to tell great stories, right? I didn't know the impact of what I was trying to do. It's when I started and I kept going even when things were hard, that I realized I saw the impact and my calling in that. So it's always been about people because I wanted to use the magazine to impact people.
Okay.
And then from using the magazine to impact people, then I saw that, I love to tell great stories about women because I was mentoring young people and I'm hearing people say, my mentor is Oprah, my mentor is what, and I was like, what about the Ghanaians?
What about
So I started doing the Ghana Female CEOs, Ghana Women of the Year, She Boss, all of that so that these young girls can see that, I want to be like these other women from Ghana, right? So it's all about impacting people. And for me, politics is people. Politics is about people. And from what I was doing, I got called to be the UN Goodwill Ambassador, which I got my appointment straight from New York. And they had never appointed anybody in Ghana. And you think that you are working, you don't see what people are actually watching what you're doing, right? So I have served as a UN Goodwill Ambassador for over 5-6 years. And after all of that, and I started through that actually, I started working, really going down to the grounds, like wanting to do more for the less privileged and going into, towns, villages all around our country in the north with women in fistula. I'll go to some central region with young girls with teenage pregnancy. So I was loving that. It was like, I get up and I'm so joyful, I have so much joy because I feel like I'm going in to change something. And politics is about change. And I think that's what led me to that, to now wanting to make an impact, and started with my constituency where I was born and raised.
I don't know why my pen fell, but it fell maybe because God doesn't want me to ask this question. The next one I've got, because it was coming out with heat. It was coming out with heat. I read extensively.
Yeah.
I read several things.
I can tell.
And I have a lot of people that I speak with.
Yeah.
Some of these people, they have been part of the earlier people who started, certain things for this country. But there's something I understand when it comes to leadership and politics. Politics or governance at a higher level is for control. It's for stealing.
Oh.
I'm just saying that any level of governance, banking, that higher level is for command, control, stealing.
Okay, can I come in quickly before I lose my thoughts? Okay. So control, I agree with you. Because when you are in leadership position, whether you're a CEO for your own company or whatever you're managing, you are in a control position, right? Because you are controlling something. But what I would tell you is, if the wrong people are in the control position, that's when we have a problem. And I am I'm 44, I'm going into 45, right? But I don't want, because I have seen and I was tired of seeing the people that were in control of my future and that of my children. And if I believe that I've built enough maturity and enough character and enough resilience and a strong mind, and I can be in a control position, but now not just, but you have somebody with character in control. Why wouldn't I want to serve my country? Why would I want to sit there and be a spectator and just give comments? No, that's not the kind of person I am. So I agree with you on control. But if all of us are going to say, and because we think that politics we say is dirty, we're going to sit there and allow the people who don't have character and allow the people, and I must say that Ghana actually is blessed. We've had great leaders in control position, but also we've had bad ones as well. But, what about 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line? Who are the people who are going to be in that control?
Right.
I want to be part of that because I know I've built enough character to be in that control position. So
this is what, I didn't really finish that question. I won't finish it, but I think that was an amazing, the reason I won't finish it is because that was an amazing submission. But you see, this is why in most cases, politicians are threatened by entrepreneurs. Because anytime an entrepreneur rises in the ladder of success, they want to enter that seat of influence and control. So when they also are there and they look at entrepreneurs, they want to step on you guys. And I'm taking myself out of the picture.
No, I understand.
And to make life
because our approach is different.
Yes.
Right? An entrepreneur's approach when they have control is different, especially when you meet one that's really good. Yeah. Because the way we think, we've created, and I told somebody, I said, and I know people are threatened by me, even in political circle, right? Because of what I can do with that space. Okay. But my thing is, of course, you can be threatened by me because I have built a brand that didn't exist and I've built it into a global brand that people know about, right? So if you give me brand constituency, you think I cannot grow that and make it the most, set it as an example, I can build that. Do you get what I mean? Okay. I've created something that didn't exist. You understand? So that attitude and that mindset and that energy and that mindset and that, spirit, everything is what I am taking into that position to change something. So whichever portfolio you give to me in government, you're giving big portfolios to people who've never run a business before, people who've never employed anybody before, people who've never created something before, and you give them biggest national portfolios. How do you expect them to run them?
Yeah. I did say that, I don't like talking about politics. And I don't know how, I didn't even write this question down. I don't know how that came, but I'm so sorry, guys. I don't talk about politics, but I've still got more questions.
It's about leadership.
It's about leadership, yeah. For me, it's always, what can you do for your people without being called a politician?
And I actually don't like the word.
Has a negative.
I don't like the word. And I still say it. And people say, Claudia, you're a politician. I said, I am not a politician. But I think it will come out and through the work that you do. You get what I mean? Like when I went to my constituency, I showed them a person.
Okay.
You understand? I showed them a human being. And that's why when I'm not there, if anytime people hear that I'm coming to that constituency, it's like light. People tell me that, Madam, and when you're not there, it's like you've taken the lights out. And when you come out, everybody, it's like the smiles, even how the warmth you give to people. And I told you, I see people. I go to people that are sick and naturally I'll just sit on the floor with the person because I saw you sitting on the floor. So I see you and naturally my thing is to also sit on the floor. I go to market, Ababush, wherever, like disability place, and I just lift the children because that's me. That's me. It's a person, it's the people. And I think that, time will always, allow people to tell and see. But you just have to do what you're doing. And I am at my best when I am representing something and especially impacting a lot of people. And in politics, you're able to touch a lot of people. Okay. It's how you are going to touch them because that's where you're making decisions and you're leading people, you're making decisions and things that affect thousands and millions of people, right? And that gives me a bigger calling. And I don't take it for granted. And I understand what my influence is in this country. And I understand when the day that I posted that I was standing in my constituency, I saw a lot of young people on social media. And even in America, what did they call it? Is it the Black Caucus or something like that? People that were tweeting and said, this is the kind of leadership we want to see in Africa. So I understand the influence and what my brand is and where I'm going. And I do not take that for granted. And I want to see a certain type of leadership 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line. If God allows us and we're still alive, I want to see that. And I want to be part of that. And I'm hoping that my journey would encourage other young people not to stay away from politics. Because whether you like it or not, politics is our way of life. Whatever decision is made, whether you like it or not, it affects you. And I don't want people to distance themselves so much from it. You can be part of that decision making, that control. But I am hoping that Africa will get into the right hands of control. And if not now, at least in 10, 15 years' time.
I really shouldn't have spoke about this. But I still have more questions. One more. Almost every leader in that capacity is sponsored. From the presidents to the MPs to the ministers, they're sponsored to get in that seat. You have a successful business that is running. Don't you think that all the good things that you have that you want to do for your constituency or for the people to lead, don't you think people who are backing you financially will then begin to control what you do for them?
I'll tell you something. That is the perception. And you think that everybody is sponsored. It's not everybody that's sponsored. You do get, when I was standing, and anybody will tell you, who are the people who sponsored me to go to my constituency? I did it myself. Nobody sponsored me to go to my constituency.
I will sponsor you.
But it's also, I tell you what, it's not because I couldn't find people to do it.
Okay.
But I'm trying to do what you just said because I do not want so many people interfering in my journey.
Right.
If you become part of my journey, it's because I'm telling you, God, or I have, and it's not in any cocky way, but I have accepted you to be part of my journey. That's why you're part of it. So I could have gone to people or whatever, but I said that I want to do this and I still want to be graceful in this position and in this journey that I'm going in, right? I don't want somebody to tell me that, oh, Mika, I gave Claudia this, and before you know, it's just $1,000 something. $1,000. Do you get what I mean? But and of course, you do get people that support you and fund you.
Okay.
And also when even projects that you want to do in future, because I am not somebody that believes that, and sometimes I say with some members of parliament, and I say it, that I don't believe that central bank should be the people. You should sit here and wait for central bank to bring funding before you can do things that will impact the people that so much need it. What about you doing proposals yourself and going out there and looking for sponsors? If you want to build a maternity clinic, why do you need to sit there and wait for parliament, finance to bring? And women are already dying. Couldn't you have done a proposal and gone around corporate institutions? Because people want to be part of this. And that's why I tell you that when you bring an entrepreneur, somebody who's run and created businesses into positions of control like that, we're actually quite serious. Do you get what I mean? Because I am not going to sit there and wait for money to come from central bank before I action something I want to do. I'll go and look for sponsorship. I did the biggest AstroTurf in my constituency, first ever to be done, and really the biggest size in terms of size in the Ashanti region. Did I use I went into pitch to corporate institutions, and somebody came in as a corporate brand to build it. So I believe that it's the people that want the control, and the control is in their hands, as you say.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. But if you haven't subscribed, please do share this. But if you're not enjoying this conversation, it's okay. Just click down. There's another video you can watch. But I'm enjoying it so far. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about you being in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about you that has made you successful in that in the industry?
I've said this a few times when I talk that as much as I'm a woman, I do not see a woman when I go into business circles. I just see a person, right? And if anything, me being a woman is an added value to it. I want to go into, I'm a boardroom girl. I pitch businesses, I close deals, I spot opportunities, I sell, do procurement and all of that. And when I'm pitching, I don't see a woman. I just see a person. And I am here to pitch, do my presentation, and close that deal. And I'm walking out with that deal. So that's my mindset. And if you are a man or whoever, I don't see that. So I guess, again, it's all mindset, right? And how you approach life, how you approach your business, and how you see things. Somebody even asked me that, do you think that you've gained a contract or lost a contract because you're a woman? I wouldn't even know that, because I don't have that mentality that, I'm a woman trying to pitch. I'm a person trying to pitch. So what has that got to do with gender? So I haven't really experienced that in, and I always say that it's about being prepared, preparing yourself, right? I believe that people want to engage with people. And again, I tell you that I'm intense and I see life as very serious, right? So I believe, that's my thinking, I could be wrong, that I go in and people are not, but I believe that when people sit and you're presenting, they want to see what you're presenting. It's not about whether it's a man or woman presenting. So go in there with, well prepared. If you're well prepared and you are there and you're speaking the language, telling them what they need to hear and giving them solutions, because that's the person I am. I go in and I provide solutions to your brand. So if I'm providing that with you, doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a male, it doesn't. It's about what I'm saying. And that's what I pay attention to. Make sure you're prepared for what you're going to do. Go in there and do your work and do it very well, because that's what they will remember you with, not the fact that you came in, as a woman.
That was the message for women empowerment. So that was the message. That was the message. If I gave you a box full of opportunities, anything you could have become, with no resistance, nothing, choose and have, what would you choose?
A mother.
Wow. Not a politician, not a president, not the she-boss.
I am a she-boss. A she-boss is also being a mother.
You choose being a mother?
Yeah.
Wow. Why is that?
Because what you asked me is something that, if by the grace of God I have life and 80 years down here, I'm sitting old Claudia Lumor or Claudia whatever, it's something that I'll look back and I would maybe cry over if I didn't have or I didn't experience it. If I never experienced being a politician, I'll still help people. If I never experienced being the president of Ghana, I'm still a leader and I still can be a leader, whatever. But if I had never at that age experienced being the mother, that would make me cry, because I love that so much. And what that gives me, nothing can give me that. Not money, not a man, nothing, cars, clothes. Nothing can give me that experience, what that gives me. So,
you just said something, and I'm sure somebody's that. You need to ask a question, because you just said not the man, but isn't it the man that gives the kids? I don't understand that.
The man that gives the kid?
Yeah. I don't understand.
What do you mean the man that gives the kid?
I don't get it. Like, don't you need a man in the process? I'm a pharmacist. I should know better, right? I don't. I really don't right now. Like, no.
But being the mother has got nothing to do with being with the man. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't. You know what I mean? I mean, what if I adopted the children?
Oh, okay.
Or now people
IVF,
are doing IVF and all of that.
Right.
And what I'm saying is not the act of having the baby.
Right.
It's the experience or what's
mothering
the feeling.
Kids.
Yes,
right.
the feeling,
okay.
yeah. So what that gives you. You know, when you're with a man, what gives you? And what you're with your children, what gives you? That's what I'm talking about. When you have money, what it gives you. You know, everybody has, when I buy a new car, it's like, oh yes. When I get, I love shopping. You know, when I love shoes, I love bags. It's my thing. You know, so when I'm in, Harrods or Selfridges, like everybody in Harrods knows, because I'm in there all the time, right? And I know the feeling that gives me. You understand? When I work so hard and I travel and I'm shopping and buying something for me, I know that feeling.
Okay.
But I'm talking about that
right.
what everything gives me, there's nothing more than being a mother.
You've got to love the conversation to have the conversation. Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Interesting. I'm just running through a few of them that I... I think the best advice is let them feel that they've won. Let them feel that they've won. I think that's the best advice that somebody gave me, because when you are working, you get up and you're working so hard. You're working so hard. You have a beautiful podcast, great guests coming in here. Somebody is sitting somewhere and all they want is to see the day your page get hacked and it's all crashed, right? So when people are after the negative and whatever they are hoping to achieve, let them feel that they've won and just keep doing what you're doing. So it was a very deep conversation I was having with somebody, and the person said that and said, you know what, sometimes in life, you just need to let people feel that they've won. And for that reason, sometimes it takes you stepping back. Do you understand? There are people that sometimes they don't even post anything on their social media. You feel like it's like they've disappeared, you know, because people are looking, searching for, hey, what is he posting? Hey, what's he wearing? Hey, but you don't see them anymore. You understand? If you know, it's like I'm not there anymore. I use that as an example, but sometimes it could even be within your friends. You could be within your friends, that people that even though they are laughing and smiling with you, the moment you start doing very well, or the moment that you start doing something that they are not doing, you know, things change, right? Still things change. But you need to let them feel that they've won, you know, and not them all the time telling them all the great things, that because you might think that, oh, you're doing something great, you want to share with your friends that, oh my God, my podcast is doing, I've got the biggest brand that wanted to work with me. They're sitting there and they don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. So sometimes you just need to let people feel like, you know, either they've won or, you know what, we are all at the same level, even though you know where you're heading towards.
I love it. If you were to give me one regret, what would that be?
Regret. I think trusting people too much. Trusting people, especially people that are close to you. Trusting them too much. I think that is one of the biggest, because my personality, I love to see people do well. And I'm never threatened by somebody's, you know, how well somebody's doing. I'm never threatened by stuff like that. So and if you see people like you and me, like people who are giving people platforms to talk, and it shows your heart, you understand? Because you want to elevate people, you understand? Because that's me, you know. Why would I pay money to style somebody? If you come on Glitz Africa, I pay for everything. Wow. Why am I paying for a photographer, makeup, hair, clothing, everything, photographer, whatever, and still print a magazine to project your business without you paying even one Ghana city? Why do I do that? Magazines, I had magazines in other African countries. They asked me, Claudia, the way you're doing your magazine, you never make money, because people actually pay us to be in our magazine, but you are rather spending on them to be in your magazine. Why do you do that? But I understand elevation. I understand what I'm doing. I understand what I'm providing, right? So, so that will be what I will say.
If I gave you that camera, please say something to my audience.
What I will say is service, having a heart to serve, because people just want to make it. People are desperate to be, maybe just for words, to be a Claudia Lumor, but they are not ready to serve the way Claudia Lumor served and is still serving. But they want to look and feel, because people say, oh, you make it look easy. But are you ready to serve the way I served and I am still serving? You need to have, for you to get to where you want to be and people to accept you, people to respect you, and to be able to stay where you want to stay, because it's all nice. You can get there, but it's about you staying at where you want to get to. And you can do that if you have a heart of service and a spirit of service. So please, that's all I would say. Live your life, look beautiful, be conscious about your health, love people around you, pray, love your family, support your friends. But you definitely need to have a heart of service, because that's what's going to help you to stay where you want to get to.
I've learned so much. I thought I had the spirit of excellence, but after this is peak level, peak level. And I've picked a few cues here and there. Every time I have a guest sit down, the first rule is, what am I going to learn from this person before it goes to my audience? And I've learned, I need to reflect on some of the things I've picked up today.
I like that.
But yeah, if you didn't enjoy this conversation, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, go watch another video. My name is Derek Abaite. Stay connected.